Did I think on the Sunday night we'd be lifting that trophy? I probably deep down, I probably didn't think so. I'd probably let Peter down.
We were all in floods of tears that night as he walked out on that first walk on, going, holy hell, this is just the wow factor, and what any dart player would give to be able to walk out in their hometown at a Premier League. A
night I'll never forget. I see myself watching him back sometimes, so I know it's what a feeling.
Hello, welcome along to the latest edition of the Tungsten Talk here at the MODUS Super Series, where we delve into the lives and careers of some of these stars of darts. And today we've got the former World Seniors World Cup champion John Henderson with myself and Scott Mitchell in the studio to look back on his career, look back at some of the highs, and maybe have a look at what the future holds. And John, I suppose we'll go full circle. We'll kind of start and end with the same question. How would you reflect on what you've done and the things that you've achieved in your career?
I do believe when I do finish playing and I look back on my career, I've had quite a successful career. Okay, I've no life-changing money, but I think especially about the BDO days, in the early days, when I picking up a few titles in Holland and Sweden, and obviously the British Open was one of the biggest ones in 2008, and then obviously making the switch. But no, I would look back and I think I'd have quite a good career. Played international for Scotland in both codes as well, so that's always something I've been proud of. So you never know, just keep on going.
How would you look back at some of the things that John Henderson's done?
Are we talking on or off the board?
Be kind, Scott, be kind.
We have a big history, the pair of us, and yeah, I think the way that I would sort of describe John as, from an outsider looking in, he's just an absolute warrior on the dartboard. He never gives in. He can be 3-0 down and win games 4-3. It's just, he has a bit of everything, this fella. And when he's off the board, he's just one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. So I think he's the complete package, and I'm lucky to have him as a mate. That's the way I feel.
Where did it all begin? When did you first pick up a set of darts?
Well, I never played darts as a youngster. I didn't play my first county game. I was 27 years old, so I never played youth. I never did any of that. I used to go down to my local cricket. We used to watch the cricket, and they maybe had a pool and darts competition, and I would enter the darts. And I don't remember if you know a guy called Bob Taylor from Arford. He kind of spotted me and saw something in me, invited me into Aberdeen to play local darts, and it just started from there. I was playing. I qualified for Lakeside in 2005, got my first Scotland Cup in 2004. So everything happened very quickly. So I started picking up just maybe natural talent, I don't know, but no, that's how it started, and I've never looked back since.
So it's almost, I suppose, something that you kind of tripped upon that spiraled a little bit out of control then, really.
Oh, 100%. That was something I never thought about doing. I used to go and watch football, obviously go and watch my local cricket, and how darts came about. I never dreamt I'd be doing what I'm doing now, and as a full-time profession. But no, I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I've got no regrets at all.
Were you much of a darts fan then before you started playing?
Yeah, so I used to watch, obviously, being Scottish, I used to like watching Jockey and playing in the big games against Eric and John Lowe. So I've always been a darts fan, but never thought I'd become a darts professional such. But no, I used to enjoy watching Bullseye on a Sunday. No, I've always had a big spot for darts, yeah.
So let's kind of talk about then the beginning, the first times we kind of saw you on the TV, the first times we saw you break through. I want to talk about that debut you mentioned for Scotland back in 2004. What was that like when you put on that shirt for the very first time?
It is. It's something else that Scott will tell you. Scott's obviously captain his country, so he's a proud Englishman as well. But it's such what a feeling it is for my first time. I think it was Richie Davies. I played my first game, and nerves. I actually played well. I think I did about a 30 average. I lost 3-2, standing there and belting out the flower of Scotland. It's something else. It really is, and a very proud moment, aye.
It's a feeling unsurpassed, isn't it?
Yeah, we actually discussed it yesterday when we had a little chat, and unless you've actually played it and been part of it, it's very difficult to describe what it means. It's the side of the game where you're playing for a little medal you can probably buy for £3, you know. It's but it means the absolute world to pull that shirt on for your country, and if that doesn't make your hair stand up on your back of your neck, then nothing will. And if you can't find that passion to play for your country for nothing, basically, for no financial reward, you don't go on further in the game, because that's what sets you up and sets your mindset for the rest of your darting career.
As you mentioned, not long after you then make your debut at the Lakeside, what was it like walking out at that venue for the very first time?
It's a scary place, but you just walk through the gates and you see the Frimley green sign, and then the Lakeside, and the hairs on the back do stand up. Obviously, watching it as a kid, never thought I'd ever be here, but no, to walk in, it didn't actually look as big as I thought when you see it on TV, but then once you see it filled with the crowd, what an amazing place, and it is an iconic place. It's every darts player's dream. I know we've got the Ali Pali, but Lakeside was the home of darts as such. So to get to play there a couple of times was absolutely fantastic, and it's so good. It's good that they still have it there.
What are your memories in terms of playing in the tournament, in terms of the games that you played?
Well, I made my debut against Stephen Bunton, and it must have been the worst first round game ever at Lakeside. It was a dreadful game. I got through it, I managed to win, but it was a horrible game to play in. And then my second round is when I broke the record for a 5-set match with the 180s with 12. But unfortunately, I lost that match against Martin Adams. But just even to play a man of Martin's stature on that stage was just something else. So no, and got good memories of my first breaking or having the record. I still believe it's still the record. I'm not sure. I'd need to look back on that, but no, it was a dream come true at the time. Yeah.
And then you carried on having success on the circuit, and I suppose qualifying for things like that, and then just became regular nature for yourself, didn't it?
Well, I started kind of doing the BDO Tour as such. Once I did Lakeside, I knew, well, I can maybe play this game and maybe take it a bit more serious. So I started travelling a bit more to the Holland, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, doing all this opens. Won a few on my way, and then obviously the big one in Bridlington when I lost in the final to Gary in 2007, and then actually beat him in the final 2008. So I think that was the start of me thinking, oh, I've got a future in the game, and maybe did think about moving to the PDC then, but no, I think winning that British Open was a benchmark for me to maybe think about going full time.
And I suppose as well that you look at the history of that competition, some of the names on that trophy, how much beaming pride did it have to, not just obviously it was a big tournament itself, but the fact that you put your name on a trophy that had so many legends on it?
Definitely, it was on TV as well. It's the talent of sport, so I kind of put an added pressure. Played the last 8 down at the final, so that was a bit of pressure. But no, as you say, you look at back in the history of it, obviously Jockey, Eric, even just to be being mentioned with that name's such a proud thing. And no, I must admit, it was one of the biggest trophies I won. Like.
I remember that win as well, because back in the days then when we went, you put the trophy up in the hotel window, didn't you? You put so right. Everybody knew the guest house that John was staying at, and that was one of my first British Opens that I ever went to, and I thought, wow, that'd be cool to win that and put it up in your guest house window. What an amazing thing to do, and we were all aware of how big the British Open was, but that was the breaking point, the breakthrough point for you, I think, when everybody then sort of said, hang on, this guy is a player. This is the guy that can now go on and start winning bigger stuff.
Do you sometimes need a win like that to kind of prove in your mind what you know you're capable of and what you can go on to achieve?
I do believe so. It was still quite early in my career when I won the British Open. I'd only been playing maybe 4 or 5 years at a high level. So it was quite early in my career. But no, I do think you need that win to give you some belief that you can compete in these big tournaments and go on and win them. So it was massive for me at the time, like massive.
You're mentioning around that point you were flirting with the idea of heading across coast. Was it something then you were contemplating for a couple of years before you then made the switch over to the PDC? It
was when I won the British Open, it was something I thought about, and then I qualified as the BDO player for the Grand Slam in Wolverhampton. Seeing the setup, just everything about it, this is where I want to be. And that's when I decided to make the switch in 2011. Obviously, it wasn't so easy just to move because they introduced the Q school for the first time. So it wasn't just a case of shifting codes. I had to go through the whole rigmarole with the Q school. But getting my tour card was something massive, and I've never looked back.
How interesting and how strange was it? Because as you say, before then you could just if you wanted to move over, you moved over, you made that allegiance, and you just paid your fees when you played in the Players' Championship. So at the time, because it was the first one, was it a bit weird because you're feeling like, I want to go over, but I may have, if it don't go well, I'm going to have to stay where I am?
Yes, I think it was. I think it had a lot. There was a lot of comments about me and Chizzy making the switch, and there was a lot of people were bad mouthing, you know. So it was going to look kind of egg on your face if I having to go back, and it's something it made me more determined to get my card. I'm losing a lot of friends. I've got a lot of friends back to BDO. It was just something I needed to do for myself. Everybody wants to take that step up in the game, and that's what I decided to do back then. So, and I think it proved to be the right move. But no, it was hard. Well, it wasn't the same. Q School's about 140 odd entries that year. You look at it now, you're looking 400 or 500 people. So it was a lot easier back then. But it was still hard because I knew the pressures of having to go back to BDO if I didn't get my card. So luckily for me, it worked out in the right way.
Plenty to pack in your career in the PDC. We're going to do that in a couple of moments' time. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back in a few moments here on the Tungsten Talk. Hello, welcome back to the second part of the Tungsten Talk here at the MODUS Super Series, looking back at the career of the Highlander, John Henderson. Before the break, we were talking about you getting your tour card in 2011, something that became, I suppose, an ever-present for yourself ever since. We'll talk about some of the more individual success in just a second, but how would you look back at your time more generally within the PDC?
Oh, it's been enjoyable. Loved every minute of it. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to win a Players' Championship, which that's something that eluded me. Got a couple of finals, a European final, but never actually got over the line. But it was a massive jump in the golf, and it was a big golfing standard as well, if I'm being honest. Having to get used to playing best 11 as well, taking a bit of time, but loved every minute of it. It's so professional, and no regrets about my decision to move across at all.
Was one of the things that struck you straight away was the fact that the standard every single game in, game out, regardless of what you do, you know you've got to be out. Where sometimes if you go to an open competition, you can maybe ease your way into the tournament a little bit.
Well, you go to Holland in the Dutch Open and Scotland, there's 2,000, 3,000 entries. So your first couple of games, you do kind of get like a pub player, and it kind of eases you into the competition. But when you go to these pro tours, you need to be on it from the first start to the last, so it was hard, but no, it actually benefited my game. It raised my game playing against these top players every week. So no, it was good for me.
And I suppose when somebody like John stays on tour for as long as they have, and we've seen some great players drop off tour that have played some excellent stuff. I mean, Connor Scott's a great example of that. I suppose it says a lot about a player if they can stay on that tour for a long time, and you consider the standard which just keeps rising year in, year out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the fact that he kept a card for so long is credit to John and how long he's been playing that level of the game. You know, it was a difficult decision to go over, so that's playing on your mind before you start. And once you get past that 2 years, I think then you start proper learning. I think it's a little bit of a bridesmaid affair, when you're going over for the first. It's all still very exciting. If you can manage to hold your card for that first 2 years, I think you establish yourself. You understand the system, but then you get sort of into a position where you feel over-relaxed. And John hasn't allowed himself to do that. He's kept going forward and going forward and going forward. And fair credit to him for keeping the card as long as he has, because some people will say, it's disappointing that he lost it when he lost it. But for me, I think you've got to look back and say what the positives are is how long he actually kept it.
And would the story perhaps as well of your PDC career be a case of, as time went along, you were incrementally improving season upon season. Results were seemingly getting better season upon season.
Definitely. The more you play it, the more you get used to the format and the long days. But no, I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. It was hard. I put so much pressure on myself to win pro tours, and I'd been there for maybe going into my 10th year, still haven't won a pro tour, and I was getting hungry, and I'm maybe putting too much pressure on me. So that side of things, I'm disappointed in myself. But as Scott says, I am proud of what I've achieved in the game in PDC. I might have looked to have won a bit more. Obviously, the big one, the World Cup, was just something that I'll cherish with me the rest of my life. But no, unfortunately, not getting that pro tour, it kind of hurts. But you never know in the future. I might hopefully get back and you never know.
We'll build up to the World Cup win in a second, but I want to talk about a couple of the other highlights of your time. I want to begin with the World Grand Prix, where you beat Michael van Gerwen. The peak of his power is Michael van Gerwen as well, and you made it all the way to the semi-finals of that competition. What's your memories of that week at the City West?
It's not often that you'll beat Michael van Gerwen with a 74 average, and I know it was a double start. So, but no, what an absolute weekend it was from start to finish. Obviously, I thought the hardest game, if I'm being honest, was the second one against Alan Norris. After beating Michael and the expectations is there to go on and beat Alan, it was such a hard game. And obviously beating Raymond as well, and then playing Darrell in the semi-final. And it was just, even after the game, it teamed me. Scott will tell you, from the City West Hotel, from the venue to the hotel, it's only about a couple hundred yards. I think it took me about 3 hours to get back to the hotel. Just people wanting an autograph and photo. It was absolutely fantastic. So, no, that was a great run to the semi-finals. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It was absolutely fantastic.
And then that run over that period of time then led to the Contenders, where obviously Gary Anderson pulled out of the Premier League and they needed to fill the space with 9 contenders because they'd announced the lineup, and they picked you for Aberdeen. First of all, do you remember getting the phone call to say, right, we're doing this and we want you to be a part of it?
Well, I have got Gary Anderson to thank for that, because when Jason, my manager, phoned us up and said they're introducing the Contenders with Gary pulling out, so obviously with Aberdeen, you're going to get the nod, so are you okay to play in it? I'm thinking, oh, let's give it a go, aye. 4,000 Aberdonians screaming, it's going to be such a good, and it ended up being a brilliant night. The walk-on, just even the walk-on, I wanted to get was one leg. And obviously I'm playing Michael van Gerwen. I'm thinking the best player on the planet, and well, here we go, he's going to beat me 6-0. But no, I got the 6-all draw, and it just capped off an absolutely fantastic night. It's a night I'll never forget. I see myself watching it back sometimes, so no, it's what a feeling.
That walk-on's iconic, right?
As a friend, I will never forget that. I was feeling for him. I was thinking how it must have felt to do that in those moments. It's probably one of the only Premier League night matches that my whole family have sat down and watched the Premier League. My daughter, Katie and Sam, they absolutely adore him as a person. They know him as a person rather than a dart player. But we were all in floods of tears that night as he walked out on that first walk-on, going, "Holy hell! This is just the wow factor and what any dart player would give to be able to walk out in their hometown at a Premier League must be the most awesome feeling." And yeah, there wasn't a dry eye in our house, that's for sure.
And then a couple of years later, the highlight moment, the World Cup.
Oh.
In your own words, what was that weekend like?
Well, once again, Gary Anderson to thank, obviously, because of the COVID and he wasn't travelling, so I totally get it. And obviously getting that nod to go and play with Peter was, now I can say I've played in the World Cup in both codes. As I said earlier on, it was just a dream come true. But if I'm being honest, I sat in there before we played, I think I can't remember, it was Japan or China for the first game. Did I think on the Sunday night we'd be lifting that trophy? I probably deep down, I probably didn't think so. I'd probably let Peter down. But no, it just, what a surreal feeling. I wasn't even on the stage when Peter hit that one in double, so I was sitting in the backstage. And I've always said I would never ever cry at a game of darts. I've watched so many grown men cry, and I can see why now. The emotion just takes over, and it was just my first PDC title, a major, on TV, on Sky. Absolutely fantastic, and it's something that'll live with me for the rest of my life.
Is it almost one of those as good as it gets moments?
I don't think it can get better. Representing your country is just something else, and then to go and win a World Cup in any sport is fantastic. So no, it's just, I don't think it'll ever be topped, unless I went on and win the world title, obviously. But I know it's a team event. I would have loved to win more individual things, but I'll take a lot from it.
You've certainly become one of the sport's most iconic players over the last 10, 15 years. The throw, the walk-on, the relationship with the fans. I just want to talk about that because you are a real crowd favourite. Were you somebody that ever thought that you'd be somebody that when you walked onto the stage it was going to be loved by everybody?
No, I never thought that. No, as I say, I never look for confrontation on a board. I just get on with everybody. yes, I sometimes look as though I'm upset, but I'm upset with myself, not with anybody else. I'll never blame anybody else. I don't want any hassle. I just want to go out there, play darts, have a good time, maybe go for a meal with some of the lads, maybe a couple of drinks, and that's it. Just want an easy life.
I want to talk about the throw because everyone talks about it. Where did the kind of rock and that begin? Was it just something that was just so natural for yourself when you first started?
In my head, I'm no rocking. And I don't know how it came about. If I could answer that question, I would. It is probably the most questions I get asked. How did the rock become about? Because I don't know. I can't answer that question. It just, as I say, in my head, I'm no rocking. But obviously, when I watch back, I'm thinking, oh my God, sometimes it's quite severe. But if it's on song, it's very effective. But it can get ugly. That's the downside of it. And when it is ugly, it's bad. So it's just my throw now. I'm not going to change it now after all these years. So I'll just have to stick with old rock, I'm afraid.
Let's talk about some of your successes outside the PDC because the Seniors 2024 was such a great year for yourself. And picking up that World Championship title at the Circus Tavern, obviously the World Cup meant a lot for you, obviously winning it for Scotland, winning it obviously with Peter Wright. But for you in terms of an individual title, is the Seniors one the one that perhaps goes to the top of the list?
I did mention the British Open earlier on, which was massive, but I think you're right. Obviously, dropping out the tour, I'm thinking, where's my future going to lie? And obviously, they've introduced the seniors and obviously MODUS as well. It's helped so many. There's so many opportunities now. But when I walked into that, I'd never been to the Circus Tavern, and so I watched it on TV. So to walk out there and then to pick up a trophy, it was up to even beating like a legend in Trina Gulliver in the first game. It was just to play her on that stage was fantastic. A lot of time for Trina, but no, it was what a week as well. Just to lift that. Now I can say it's seniors, but it's still a world title and it's an individual one, as you said, that I couldn't get. But no, I loved it. Brilliant.
Couple of events coming up for yourself here at the Super Series, beginning with the international pairs, reuniting with your former World Cup teammate Robert Fulton. How much are you looking forward to that?
Oh, definitely. And getting to represent my country again at another level, so it's fantastic. So looking forward to playing with Robert. We're so close off on the dartboard, so looking forward to it and the chance, as I say, to represent Scotland once again.
Obviously, you won the World Cup in the PDC. So how much would you like to win another trophy for your country in another form? And also, of course, the first time that we've played it here, so you'd be the first ever to lift it.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. To lift another trophy is special. Any trophy is special, whether it's a World Championship, whether it's MODUS, everyone's special. So it'd be great to be the first ones to say it, and Scotland are having a good time of it at the moment, so hopefully me and Robert can continue that.
Then after that, you're going to be playing in the next Influencers event. You played in it in the past. What is it like? 'Cause it's a little bit different, isn't it, to obviously this side of it?
It's a bit of fun, and it really is a bit of fun. We have a right good crack with the guys through the back. As I said, I'm not really up to the TikTok and all that, so I don't know most of them. I just know of them, but I don't know them. But oh no, I played with the Angry Ginger last time. What a character. Absolutely fantastic. It's a great day for the viewers. It must be brilliant to watch, and it's quite hard to play. We're trying to impress them, but no, it's such an enjoyable day, and I'm really looking forward to getting invited back. And
then moving forward, what does the future hold for John Henderson? I get the feeling that the fire is very much still burning in the belly.
It is, yes. I'm not getting any younger. I'm 52 now, 52 next month, and none of us are getting any younger. But no, I've still got the hunger for the game. I still go at Q School in January. Hopefully I'll get my tour card back. But if I don't get it, as I say earlier on, there's so much opportunities. MODUS has been absolutely brilliant for so many players. You see some of the success stories after playing here. So hopefully I use this as good practice here to win, as we all are. And hopefully maybe one day I'll get that tour card back and maybe get that final Pro Tour win.
How would you assess the career of John Henderson Scott?
I think it's been a fantastic career, and he's beat me far too many times, but it's not fair. But I understand why he's loved by the fans, why he's loved by people, and there are three reasons for that. Number one, he's a damn good dart player. You can't take that away from him. However he throws it, however he rocks, he's an entertaining dart player. Number two, when he shakes your hand after a game of darts, whether he's won or lost, it's with sincerity, and he actually means it. And that goes places with other players. And if you're popular within your peers, that's the hardest thing to be, and he's that. And number three, the fans love him because he's just that humble person that gives everybody the time of day, whether you're a player, whether you're a fan, anybody that gives him time to come and watch him, he gives them time back. And that's the biggest thing that you can ever say about John. There's 3 big things, and that's why he's loved so much by the fans and the players alike.
I was going to talk about some of your tour tales, but you'll both be happy to know we've run out of time on that particular one.
That'd be a good job.
You'll both keep us out the doghouse on that, so that's good stuff.
John, thank you very much for joining us. Really do appreciate it. Scott, thank you as ever. Thank you for watching the latest edition of the Tungsten Talk here at the MODUS Super Series.